Welcome to Comfrey. Now, this is an amazing plant. Botanically speaking, we are talking pretty specifically about Symphytum officinalis. You'll also see Symphytum uplandicum. And this is a variety of plant that has a pretty interesting history. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, it promotes yin, that's cooling, nutritive, moistening properties. It is an important, from a Western perspective, important demulcent and mucilagenic properties that really have been traditionally useful for treating lung conditions. So its traditions are internal and external. Anymore, it's mostly just used externally, and it's because it contains some toxic alkaloids, specifically pyrrolidine, lazidine. Oh my God, my pronunciation. This alkaloid has its own interesting. It's found in over 6,000 plants, by the way. So this is not like something you're not going to bump into someplace else. But at high doses, high levels, it can really cause serious liver problems. It also happens to have antimicrobial and anti-tumor properties. So you can see why traditionally in the hands of a seasoned herbalist healer, this plant had it was used for whooping cough, right? Internally, lung infections. It is migrated into being used just externally because it is so useful for helping, it's safer. You avoid those toxicity problems altogether. And you also can be using it very wonderfully to help support the healing of sprains, bone injuries, things like this. It is sometimes commonly called boneset. It's not boneset. Boneset is an entirely different plant that actually is powerful for healing bones, hence its name. So check out your botanical names. The two varieties that are really the highest in toxicity are the Russian comfrey, which is your Symphytum uplandicum that we just spoke about, and also prickly comfrey, which is Symphytum asperum. And so they have high levels. So you want to be aware of what you're using that way. Also, it matters when you harvest this plant. Harvested in the early spring, it's going to be highest in these alkaloids. The taproot has like 10 times the amount of that toxic, alkaloid. The leaves and buds are usually harvested, if they're harvested a little bit later in spring when the plant is in bloom, that's the optimum time for harvesting. So there's these aspects that you want to know and that traditional healers would know because they lived more closely with these plants. They were using them more, and they knew how to blend them with other herbs to further help prevent toxic issues. The tender leaves, not the young ones because they'll be super high, are edible. They've been added to soups and stews. So you can see that this was one that had internal applications. Anymore, it's more external because of these toxic alkaloids. It's a much better place for you to stay if you're not a seasoned herbalist or used to knowing how to harvest and prepare this herb and what to blend it with. But it's a great one to know about because even just used externally, it can be a great addition to your medicine cabinet for the aiding of healing sprains and broken bones. Comfrey. Visit our website at whiterabbitinstituteofhealing.com to find out more about this very wonderful herb that, in fact, early pilgrims brought to the United States, introduced it to the Native American culture, who really ran with it. And because they were really seasoned herbalist healers, actually turned right around and trained early pilgrims more about how to use this herb. So it's a great, interesting cross-cultural history in the very use of this herb and the importance of sharing knowledge.